So I've mentioned in the past that there are a number of topics we can bring up which are guaranteed to get lots of atheists riled up because not all of us agree with each other about particular things.
Yeah.
One of those topics is 9/11 conspiracy theories, and another one is objectivism.
Oh, no, objectivism?
Both you and I disagree with, and a lot of our viewers obviously do agree with.
Fantastic.
We've got a caller who wants to talk about that. And it's Andrew in Dallas.
Yes, and
hi, Andrew.
Hi, and yeah, I do. I've been watching your show for a while, and I really like what you have to say, and I agree with almost everything you have to say.
Almost, thank you.
Yeah, in fact, I remember watching the show you did on objectivism, and you actually said you did agree with Ayn Rand on metaphysical and epistemological claims. Is that right?
I mean, I don't disagree with Ayn Rand about everything she ever said.
Right. Well, you agree with her that reasons man's only guide to action, or correct? You can only guide your way through life using your reason. Would you agree with that? Her epistemological view on those points.
I'm not.
I wouldn't, because clearly there are a lot of people who blunder their way through life without doing that.
I guess but the real question would be:
if you're asking whether that's the best thing to do. Is that what you're saying? That is the better way to behave?
The proper way to live their life is
sure.
I would say that I prefer
and if they don't
that.
use reason, that would be very harmful to them.
Sure.
Sure.
You would agree with that. All right.
Well,
so you basically,
we had previous callers that brought up the life expectancy thing as evidence that religiosity is not necessarily that harmful, at least in that arena. So harmfulness is, a complex issue that we'd have to look at separately.
Right.
Right.
But anyway, go on.
But you would agree that every person in the world would have to use reason.
Where do you get have to?
Clearly not.
They don't have to use reason?
A lot of them don't.
In order to live.
Right.
You mean that you can?
Well, I mean, would you say that? Would you say that?
Well, there are people who eat because they're hungry, as opposed to eating because they realize they need food in order to survive.
Yeah. Would you say that my cat goes through life with reason?
I think if you need to get food, you have to use reason.
Well, again, would you say that my cat uses reason to get through life?
Well, you're not. Reason is for human beings. I mean, I think.
Well, okay, then my cat goes around eating just fine, right?
Not for animals, because animals, are born with these instincts, such as a bird can.
And
be
humans
born
have no
knowing
instincts.
How to build a nest, but humans are not born knowing how to build a house. They have to use their reason in order.
Humans don't have to have a house in order to live.
Well, they have to have. Shelter in order to live, and
that's true. And so does my cat.
Humans have no instincts that would lead them to shelter if they were out in the wilderness on their own.
I think they have no instinct on how to build shelter.
And didn't we just agree? Didn't we just agree they don't need to build shelters? There's shelter to be found in nature.
Right.
There was a point at which our early hominid ancestors weren't building houses either, dude. You're not going to be able to partition off animals from humans and say that special rules apply to humans that don't apply to animals.
Yeah, especially...
That's not going to work.
Especially if you're going to accept...
I thought we'd get a lot deeper into this before we encountered some stuff that was completely freaking crazy.
Well, especially if you're going to accept the scientific idea of evolution, which says that there's not really some magical dividing line between humans and animals. There's just a matter of degree. I mean, reasoning happens to be our niche, but there is some kind of rudimentary reasoning capability.
You were much better off when, for a moment, you seemed to agree that what you should be saying is only that, using reason to survive is better than not using it. If that was all you were saying, I think Russell and I would agree. But you keep saying have to, and as soon as you say have to, we are off on a magical journey examining the relationships between humans and animals.
Well, I think that if you don't use reason, you're eventually going to. You cannot survive for very long. You're gonna.
And that's why no animals in nature survive very long.
Right. So,
Dude,
Well,
no,
we're-
wrong,
that was
no,
sarcasm.
wrong. That's false.
Right. Well, I guess I'm not understanding your argument then.
Yeah, I guess you're not.
All right.
Thanks for your call.
Wait, hold on just
Wait a
second.
minute.
Hold on just
I
a
want to
second.
actually get. Okay, we don't agree.
I think that when
we
we
don't
find
agree on this point.
All right.
Well, but what's the point? Why go on to other points? Is this like
Yeah,
fundamental to your
I have
case?
to,
Is
'cause
this
I'm not
fundamental to
understanding
your
what
case?
Your argument is because you basically agree that if man doesn't use reason, he's going to die. I mean,
No,
pretty
we
quickly.
didn't agree with that.
Okay, then why do you disagree with that?
Because there are examples of lots of animals living without reason.
Right. Well, but not people.
And we
Yes.
told you there is no clear dividing line like that, between a hominid ancestor that didn't need reason, and then one day, bang, magically, you had a human being
Well, why do
who
you believe
did
that?
need reason. Huh?
Why do you believe that?
Why do you believe?
Because there's absolutely no evidence of such a line. What we have is a slow
There
progression
isn't a line
of,
between
of
animals
intelligence,
and
a
people?
slow progression between early hominids and
Right.
human beings.
Right.
Andrew, you agree with evolution, right?
I agree with evolution.
Have you read much, like Richard Dawkins, for example, on the subject?
I have not read his book.
Okay.
No, I've read books on evolution, but not.
Okay,
not Richard
but I
Dawkins
mean,
specifically.
you understand the point that there is nothing fundamentally magical about humanity.
I
They're
never
just
said there was.
one particular
Yes,
branch.
you are saying that there is. You're
Well,
saying
in what way?
you are saying that a thing called a human being is an entity that has to use reason to survive.
Yes.
And a thing
And I
called
think
an
you can-
animal is something that doesn't have to use reason to survive.
And
Actually, I'm not sure you're saying that. You seem to be saying that because animals don't use reason to survive, therefore they can't survive, which is just nonsense. I just want to know, is this
I'm saying,
are we wasting a bunch of time on something that's
peripheral?
peripheral?
Certain things in order
Caller,
to survive. You know,
Andrew,
Let me just give you an example.
Andrew,
Yeah, sure.
we'll take turns.
Okay.
I have a question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
My question is, this whole thing, your statement that man must use reason to survive.
Yes.
If I'm saying that right.
I'm saying
Is that-
every
is that-
animal.
Andrew!
Stop.
You're
No,
misunderstanding my
let this guy
argument.
go. Let this
Okay.
guy go.
All right.
Enough.
Sorry, I apologize.
You're
I
not-
apologize. I
Oh,
apologize.
let him go, meaning
He's apologizing.
I apologize if
okay.
I interrupted you. I just felt like you misunderstood my argument, I think.
I'm just asking you,
Okay.
that you made that statement,
Okay.
and you don't understand our objection when we say that statement is false.
Okay.
And what I want to know is that statement just a peripheral, irrelevant issue that we're wasting time on, or is
Right.
that central to your argument?
Well, I think every animal does something it needs to do.
That is not my question, Andrew. Okay, goodbye.
This is important.
Goodbye. No,
Okay.
it's not.
No,
Wasting my time is not important.
Right.
Good grief.
I'm kind of disappointed because I was hoping we would actually get to some political philosophy.
There's
but-
no need. If he can't get past his very first point, it's like completely falls apart the moment it's out of his mouth. And he's not even willing to answer a simple question of, is this an important point?
I hate to go off on this when we don't have an opposing viewpoint on the other end of the line.
Oh,
but
go
this
ahead.
is the problem one of the problems that I have with Ayn Rand is that she had this way of making these like declarative statements about the way things absolutely are, and then just asserting that they have to be true without like really laying out a reasonable case for them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes, I would call that characteristic of objectivism.
yes.
It's all well and good to say there are, the basic premise is there are objective truths, and from those objective truths you can form a accurate understanding of the best way to live. That is a fine thing to say. But then you have to start from actual objective truths, of which man must use reason in order to survive is not one. That is not an absolute objective truth. It's just not.
And it's why I feel like
I'm not going to explain it again. We've gone over it 3 times.
I feel a lot like the Terminator when I argue with objectivists, because they're going like, well, obviously smaller government is always bigger than bigger government. Why? Well, because it leads to more freedom. Why? Well, because, it just does. Why? and that's the way it always seems to go.